Amazon delivery today, and this is going to be for the heater hose. So what I'm doing is this is a aftermarket bracket by a man named Mike Fuchs. It's on Facebook Fummins tech page. Anyway, so his adapter has a 3/8 connection on the other side. Let's see if I can. It's on the other side there for the coolant passage. Where is it? There it is. Get a better shot on the coolant passage there. On the coolant passage there, it's a 3/8, and so you can buy this swivel where this turns, and I put a seal on it, and then I have this going into an AN10, and then I have the AN10 going into that, which will go into this hose, and this hose is a 5/8 hose, 5/8 heater hose. And that's how I plan on making the connection. I have a similar adapter for the turbo drain, but I'm still working on it. So I've got an AN10 which will screw into the turbo drain, and I have a 3/4 NPT over here. What I want to do, I want to take a female NPT to a 1-inch barb, put on that fleece hose. So I should have a picture of that a little later. Well, not today, another day. I go find it at the plumbing store. This is the company that I got the fittings from. I'm on Amazon actually. Alright, we're back on the 350, and we're making a new updated connection for the turbo drain. Now, as I'm doing this, and I went down to the plumbing store, well actually it's the hose plumbing place, I come to realize it probably would have been easier to have the plumbing place make me, they call this a JIC, but it's an AN. They don't like calling it AN. They call it JIC. It'd be easier for them to just make me an AN with a 90 with the hose to make the other connection, instead of trying to make my own connections here. I think they would have what they would have done, they would have put a hose on here and with a pressure fitting, so it would have been one piece, and all I have to do is connect to the turbo. Now the best way to do that would have been to I mean, I can do it with the engine in, but probably would have been easier to do it with the engine out. So they would have made this connection for me and just a long hose, and I could have cut it however I want once I got the proper length in there. But either way, I think this will work. This is a AN10 to a 1/2 with a 1/2 to 3/4 adapter. That's what that is. And we had to do all this because this hose ID, inner diameter, is 7/8. So it's kind of like an odd number because a lot of places don't have that. I mean, I've checked all over the place, and 1 inch is too big. It's too small for a 1-inch barb. All right, so we put on the drain. Had to run down to the plumbing place, the hose place. That's a horrible photo. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So, boom. Connects pretty good. I haven't put any oil in it yet, but it looks pretty good. I got the top tightened, I got the bottom tightened, everything is tight. So it looks good. I think that will definitely work how it's supposed to. I'm gonna have to do something about these trans lines because they're leaking. Trans line because they're leaking, and I don't like right here. I'm gonna have to bend this to come off. So since they're leaking, I'm gonna cut them. I'm gonna cut them and put a compression to a barb, so I can put a hose, just run a hose straight to the radiator. Same thing on this side. I'll put this tape here just to give me an idea where I'm gonna chop it. So I'm probably gonna chop it there, put the fitting on, bend it out, and then just have the hose running to the front. I just gotta verify that it's definitely 1/2. I believe it's 1/2. I really don't like taking hoses off. I wonder if I could just cut it down here and then just bend it back, because once they're formed, I really don't like to mess with them. Just leave it the way it is. But all right, so there we go. One step down, on to the next step. All right, another day working on the trans lines. They were leaking, so I had chopped them, and I'm just gonna run new hoses. But what I'm gonna do is, I've got my 1/2 adapters, compression, and then turn it into a AN8 to 1/2 hose. All right, see how it works. All right, I'm gonna reinstall the transmission cooler lines. Put on the fittings. Just need to get the hose and strap these together so they don't move constantly. So getting there. No oil's leaking, and this oil is now filled to the proper height. Everything looking good over here to me. So just gonna need to hook up the exhaust soon, and the drive shaft. I'm probably gonna do that this week. All right, I put on the coolant hose today, that lower coolant hose. See if I can get a good picture here. Let me see. So I put some goop in the thread because that adapter don't go all the way down. I was gonna put a seal on there, but it doesn't go all the way down. So instead, I could either put Teflon tape on there, or I put the goop on the thread to seal it. So we'll see if that'll hold. All right, working on the 350, and trying to get these hoses, the lower one. I got the top one secured already, just the lower one. Now, people are talking about you use this DCS adapter with the hose, and you gotta cut. And so far, what I did was I cut the hose already too short. Where the hell is it at? The original hose that they wanted you to use, I already cut it too short. Is this it? Yeah, this is it here. So I cut it too short because you needed to have a curve on it. Yeah, and I realized that afterwards. So you have to have the curve, because if you try to put on the pipe is too straight at that curve. So I'm trying to get the best position right now to see maybe if I can use this other piece. Now I cut this rubber off. I've cut this rubber off on another part that was not needed, but it had a nice curve. It had a perfect curve on there. So the only problem is this end right here is too big. This end on the current adapter that's on the engine side is 1.75, 1 3/4 inch, but that hose is a 2-inch hose. So we need to either put an adapter on this end, which is where this came in, but it's still not even perfect because this end is 2 1/4, not 2 inches, and this is 1 3/4. So I'm here trying to finagle a different idea, but I figured if I put this up, maybe I could use this and gauge where it should be, given that it's so straight. So it would have to be, I think, something like great. So it would have to be something like that. Now I'm still playing with it, so hopefully I won't have to buy much more stuff, because these hoses are not cheap to keep messing them up. All right, here's what I did. Hopefully it's gonna work. So I put the pipe on where I believe is a good spot, and I marked where where the pipe begin, which is on the left, and on the right where I should cut. And then this end here is going to have the adapter that I'm gonna work on. All right, let's see if I can do it. All right, what I did, I put this on here and I measured with the tape measure here to here, which is 1 3/4 inches. So then I took the tape measure and I measured back here 1 3/4 inches. By eye it was there, but that was wrong. Tape measure is right here, 1 3/4 inches. I then used the square and align them up. And I'm gonna cut on an angle. Wish me luck. All right, here are the results. Oh, by the way, I use these fancy shears from Lowe's. All right, that's Lowe's, Home Depot. Okay, when we're done, this is what we got. So instead of having 2 separate adapters, we just have the one hose that I cut, which was originally on this end of the this was on this end here. Yeah, this was on this end going to the engine of the 6.4. Like I said, I chopped it because I jacked up the hose before, and the those DCS and those other hoses that people sell online, there is too much trouble trying to finagle the right piece. What I'm gonna go do now is I'm gonna run down to the Napa and try to get a they have inserts that they sell to try to fit that area. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get an insert and then just chop it, because this is the perfect bend to go into the Cummins area over there. The only problem is that the Cummins is not, it's not the original adapter, Cummins adapter here. This is an aftermarket one that the original owner put on here. I probably would use the original to keep myself from having too much of a headache, but it is what it is. Okay, so we'll be back. Hopefully we get a nice fix for this, because this thing is nearly ready to rock, man. This thing is nearly ready. Just need to connect the plumbing up and we rocking. All right, so I'm back working on this lower radiator hose, and I got my insert. This is an insert from Napa. What it does is brings a 2-inch hose down to 1 3/4 inches, and that's the hose adapter number there from Napa. Now this should be cut properly. It should be, according to my measurements. This is approximately from here to here. It's approximately 10 inches. So from the edge, and then, so it was in that ballpark 9-10, and I probably really should use a string to figure this out. and total we've got there's 6, and then there's 10. So what is that? 14, 15, 14 and a half. 14 and a half inches total. All right, let's see if it will go in. All right, looks like it fits. Trying to make sure there's not any tension on the thing. So looks to work. I'll put some clamps. 1, 2, 3, 4 clamps since I cut this end here that says ENG, engine. So let's see what it looks like on the other end. And here's what it looked like down here. I had to push the AC line down a little bit to get it. This is using the Ford 6.7 AC compressor because of the type of adapter that's on here. I would have rather used the original Dodge adapter and use the Dodge AC, because then I wouldn't have to deal with this hose being so close to this. So there it is. Looks like that will work. Got to clamp it up like I said, and you can take it from there. All right, you can move on to the next step. All right, here we got it with the coolant bottle hose. I got it running down next to that wire down there, and then we're going to connect it with this 1-inch coupling. All right, so looking good. Right now the sun's out here again beaming, and I am done for a little while. I'll be back. All right, so today I took some time to start prepping the intercooler. And I'm going to start plumbing the turbo to this intercooler here. Just trying to see how that's all going to fit. So starting to put everything together because we are nearly ready for this thing to be complete. Waiting on the intake. We got a different intake coming. I want to retain the original box. So keep it posted. All right, doing a test fit on the drive shaft. I call it an axle because I work on Volkswagens. So I gotta see how I measured my other one, my common rail, because I don't even remember how I did it. But this is what happens when you push the motor back. The rear is fine because the rear is bolted up at the at that mount there. So this is the end that's gonna get chopped and shortened. Again, I gotta see how I measured this because I don't even remember how I did it before. But shouldn't be much trouble. I guess I'm gonna measure from the flange to the end there. All right, the axle from the flange, the tip of the flange to the edge here is where it's welded. It's 26 inches. From the flange to the same weld spot is 24 inches. So I'm gonna get them to chop this down 2 inches. This probably can move on its own power this week.